Caylee. How you
Good
doing?
morning, Greg.
So today we're talking about increasing income or increasing income without more sales. So tell us more. I'm super excited about this one.
Okay, so the typical way, if you think increasing income, you're thinking, ugh, I have to sell more. And we all know, like, most of us don't like that icky feeling of selling. And we all know, we've all heard the basic strategies like pre-booking, retail, and upsell. Like, we've heard that 1,000 times, right? So I want to take it a little bit deeper into how do you increase your income. And so I've come up with a 5-step process of how you have to do that. And it's not going to be what you think it is. It's going to be on a different level, and it's going to seem a bit fluffy, but it works. And often people ask me, what's the secret to your success and how did you grow your salon so fast? And I tell them these steps, right? And they're very simple. So are you ready for them?
Yeah, let's hear them. How many are there, first of all?
There's 5.
All right, we got 5.
Five steps. Yeah. So we'll go through them quickly, and then we can break them out a little bit.
Sounds great.
So number 1 is check your mindset about making money.
Yes.
We're going to go into it later. Okay. I'm just going to tell them to you now. Number 2, set a target. Okay. Number 3, set targets with each team member.
Right.
Because they're part of that big picture, right? They need to know what's going on. What's your vision? Number 4, use a powerful consultation.
Ooh, I like that.
Number 5, offer solutions with no emotions attached.
Awesome. So we've got a full-on, like, from the minute you get out of bed in the morning to the moment you're seeing your client out the door kind of solution, right?
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the mindset starts in the morning.
Sure does.
Yeah.
All right, let's go through them. And we did speak about mindset once upon a time and our relationship with money and sort of where it comes from childhood. So let's start from there because it goes way back, doesn't it?
It's so deep and it's so interesting because even with some of my current coaching clients that have made changes in their business, they call me like panicking. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, and they're like, there's money in my bank account.
Oh my God, what are we going to do? What do I do with it?
It's just such an interesting thing because there's so much out there of like, my boss is getting rich off me, my greedy boss. And I think that salon owners are such emotional people. They're artists. They're so in touch with other people and their team. And they just don't want to be seen as greedy salon owners. And they don't want to feel like they're in it for the money. Like, most of them are in it for the love of the industry and the love of people and, wanting to create something awesome for their team. And so they really don't think about money and they really don't attract it to them. And so that's the first step is really like check your mindset. So when you hear about somebody else's success, what are the things that come up for you, right? Are you thinking negative thoughts about how they got their success? Because if you think negative thoughts about money, you're not going to attract money. You're going to repel money. So we talked about money as like an energy, right? And if you're thinking about money in a negative way, you're blocking it from coming into your life. And that's where it sounds kind of like, out there, but it really works. What's your experience with that, Greg?
Yeah, 100%. And so my experience is actually quite, it's rooted deep in my childhood, actually with my grandparents who had that sort of relationship with money where they thought, the people up the street who have lots of it are evil, they're bad. And it was just where they came from that country, they came from that place. And I watched them watched money, real estate, and their sort of life kind of evaporate in front of them. They didn't do it on purpose. It just sort of seemed to happen. And not that there's anything wrong in selling a house or giving things to other people, but they did it at the expense of their own life. Yeah. And I think that was a lesson for me. When I look back at my family and sort of where I come from psychologically, I go, that's not going to happen to me. I want to retire with dignity. I want to send my kids to school. I'd like to eat well. I'd like to have time to, for myself to exercise. I don't need a Lamborghini. I don't need a huge, ridiculous house. I just want to have a reasonably comfortable life and be able to give things to other people like charity and stuff. So that's kind of where I come from on it.
Yeah. And so that's the mindset you chose and that's the results you're getting, right? And so that's the power that we all have is to set our intention for what kind of lifestyle we want to have and what that means to us. And so I just challenge all of you listeners to really like check yourself and check like what it is that you're trying to create in that financial realm. And for yourself, like what do you want to have to show for your business? at the end of the day. Nothing saddens me more than when I was shopping to buy my salon, seeing a 80-year-old selling his salon for $1 to get out of his lease obligation.
Yeah, it's really sad, isn't it, to hear that? Yeah.
Yeah, and just so many. I had a neighbor across the park from me who had a salon and never paid taxes and was cutting hair for cash out of his studio, because anything that went into the system was going to get garnished by the government. And so like, if we don't plan for it to end well, it doesn't necessarily end well. I think a lot of people, especially when we're young, we just think like life will take care of us and we'll figure it out, but it doesn't end well for everyone. So we need to have that mindset fixed on the things that we want to attract and be open to it and not self-sabotage it. Like you were saying, you saw your parents do, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Interesting. Super interesting. Yeah. And you know, the key is to maybe, rather than look at it as dollars and cents, look at it as opportunities or doors that will open for you. And how can you make that happen for yourself professionally and personally, right?
Exactly. Lifestyle too. Right. And that brings us to our second step,
Cool.
which is set the target. Because everybody seems to want more money and time, but what does that really mean? Like, what is that going to give you? So what is, what does that target mean? And so that's what we need to do with our, like for our team and for ourselves, is we need to make the dollar amount mean something, and we need to have a dollar amount. And that's some of the work we do in the Profit Project, is like, what does the potential of your salon look like? And giving you an actual number per month, weekday, and hour, so that you can see if you're achieving it or not. Because our minds are so powerful and they're always looking for opportunities when we set that target. But if we just say more money, more time, there's nothing for our subconscious mind to grab onto. So if you say, you know, we need to be bringing in $100 an hour, then you can start to look for ways to bring that in, and your mind will be working for you even when you're sleeping. So it's really cool when you actually set that really specific target. And that's what you were saying you did in your life was, you know, you said you want the house, you want the retirement, you know, you knew those things, what the value was, and then you're able to create that.
Interesting. And, you know, we see this at work all the time with athletes who say they need to, I don't know, run the track in 1 second less, 1 second less. You don't just, a great coach doesn't say, you got to do better. You got to go faster. The coach says you need to take 1 second off that time in the next, you know, 3 races. So that's a very specific goal, right? Like a very specific goal.
I always love your analogies, Greg. They're so good. But yeah, that's exactly it. So make it specific. Make yourself a really specific goal. Some of you right now just might be to get to that number that you were at before the closure, right? Some of you that you're maybe setting a new target based on what your business can do right now with the new limitations. So I found, you know, a lot of frustration around that. You know, them trying to get to the target that they set before. But it's like, well, you have a new potential, a new world. So let's set a new target to go with that.
Love it. Excellent. And, you know, a lot of these goals, just in closing, are called SMART goals, S-M-A-R-T. And the S and the M stand for sustainable or specific and measurable. So what is it exactly, and how will you be able to measure that down the road? And of course, the T at the end is for time bound. So what can you know, what are you looking to have? How will you know you have it, and by what time?
Yeah, I love SMART goals. Use them all the time. They have to be smart, or you don't. I remember before I really was practicing SMART goals, and I'd have one-on-ones with my team. Yeah. And then we'd meet 3 months later and we'd be like, what did we mean by that? We'd write down some goal, ambiguous goal, and be like, what is that? Do you remember? I don't remember. We didn't know if they achieved it until we started writing them in that way, where it was very specific. Measurable is the key, and time bound. Exactly. So number 3 is, now you've set the targets, but you're not going to achieve the targets alone. You have a team. And so the team also need to set their mind on what's their part in it. And so that's where your team meetings are really important, and your one-on-ones is to help them set the targets. And it's not like, I had this awful experience. I went to Paris and I worked in the Champs-Elysees, which is pretty glamorous in Sephora, but honestly, I hated it. It was probably the only job I ever hated out of all the jobs I've done. And they came and they would give me, I'd be on the floor with customers around, and they would like show the paper of like how many sales and how many more you had to do.
Wow.
It was just like hardcore, right? Like, and all about the numbers. But you know, they know it works, right? They know it works, but I wouldn't take that approach. I would take the approach of coming alongside your team member and going through the same process. So what's their part in that big picture, and what does that income mean to their life? And so how do you help them set that target, and what does that translate for them? Whether it's like helping them to afford a cleaner so they can come home to a clean house after a long day's work, whether it's helping them get a down payment on their home. So by making that goal something specific for them, helps them for your bigger goal to get what you want, but you only get what you want when you help someone else get what they want. And so I look at it through that lens, not through a money lens of like, push, hit this number, because the clients don't like that either. The team members don't like that, but of how do you get the lifestyle you want? And when you win, then I can win too.
Yeah. And you know, it's interesting. Your experience in Paris sounds very old school leadership, sort of that kind of thing, like from the 50s almost.
Oh my
Whereas,
God.
yeah, I know. Whereas what you're talking about is far more like it's a modern contemporary approach to leadership, which is understand what your team members want out of life, right? What do they want to achieve personally, and help them get there through your workspace, because we spend most of our time at work. So how can we leverage that to get to the place where we want to be?
Are you ready for number 4?
Yeah, let's do it.
So number 4 is use a powerful consultation. This is the key to identifying all the problems. And that's what we do in business, is we offer solutions to problems. And so if you're doing, you know, if they're coming in and you're like, same as last time, you know, which I've seen, right? It's scary. Like, I hope nobody's doing that. But a powerful consultation is there to reveal all of the red flags, all of the things that they might have issues with that they maybe didn't articulate to you when they booked the appointment, right? So maybe they only booked a haircut, but they're actually not feeling super great about their color, or they actually find their hair is really thin and dry. And so these are things, by asking the right questions, that you can identify. The most powerful consultation I've ever seen is the perfect consultation by Inspiring Champions.
All right.
So I would recommend that anyone, you know, who's interested in this, if this piques, you're like, oh, that sounds cool. Go to Champ Camp and learn the perfect consult. It's so powerful.
It's a great name. I love it.
Yeah. And the questions are, and they train you on how to do it, right? Because it's not in one, you know, you have to do a lot of practice to get this communication down, that you don't feel like you're selling, and you're really listening. It's all about questioning and listening. So we're identifying all the problems. And then number 5 is offer the solutions with no emotions. And so can you get where I'm going with that one?
I can totally. Okay. So we got the perfect consultation, or a powerful consultation as you asked for it. And the last point is, so tell us more about this no emotions part, because I'm a little, unpack that for us.
Yeah, well, we like to spend other people's money for them. And so if they're in their chair saying they don't know how they're going to make rent, or their daughter's sports are costing so much, we start to like decide what they can afford. And we don't even propose them the solutions to the problems that they've told us that they had. And so, or we're too embarrassed to tell them that that conditioning treatment actually costs extra. And then we actually like basically steal it from the salon because we don't ring it through. Right. There's so many where like areas where our emotions get all wrapped up in it. And so if you do a really powerful consultation, and you simply look at it as you're like the doctor, and the doctor doesn't get emotional when they tell you your prescription, right? They just send you out the door and you go buy it. So it's not, and if you leave and decide not to buy it, they don't take it personally, and they don't think I'm a terrible salesperson, or that person doesn't like me now because I tried to sell them something. Like, they just simply solve your problem with their recommendation, and you leave and decide if you're going to buy it or not. So we need to take out the emotion where, okay, I heard you say you had this problem. I heard you say you had this problem. Here's my solution to all of these problems. Which ones would you like to do today? And that just takes the emotion right out of the conversation, right? And when they're saying no, they're not saying no to you. They're saying no to their budget. They're saying no to their priorities. And some people's priorities may not be your priorities. And so even though they can't make their rent, they may want their color done more than that. And so it's not up to you to decide that for them, right? Maybe we don't think that's the best choice for them, but like, they're going to go do it somewhere else if they don't do it with you. Like, they're really responsible. You're not responsible for how they spend their money. So stop spending the money for them and just offer the solutions to the problems that you discovered in your powerful consultation.
How do we disconnect emotionally? Like, is there a tool that we use, or like a mindset, or how do we? How do we do
Yeah,
that?
I mean, it's a process, right? It's really coming to terms with like not spending that you're not in charge of how they spend their money. And
Right.
so I think it's partly your self-confidence because you're getting hurt when they say no to you, right? So you have to be able to take the no. And that could be practice, role play. We've got some great scripts for you in the Profit Project. We've got some great tools to help you through that. But it's really getting out of your comfort zone at first and just sitting in the discomfort of like, this is what the price is going to be.
Yeah.
Would you like to do it today? And just being quiet and waiting for their answer. Instead of starting to be like, oh, I know, you know,
Right.
you might not want that, or rambling all over the place.
I like that. So sitting in the discomfort, I like that. That's a good one.
Yeah. And then you'll learn, like, that will go away. It's just whenever you do something new, you get a little bit uncomfortable.
Sure.
But that will go away after you practice it a few times. So maybe practice it on your colleagues, right? First, and just practice actually asking for the sale. You're a marketing expert. That's what they always teach you, is you have to ask for the sale, right? And I used to role play with my team. And what I would do is when I needed my hair done, I would go in and I'd be evaluating them. So if any of you are owners, this is a great practice to do with your team. So every 6 weeks, I'd get my hair done with a different team member and I'd be evaluating them. And you're actually doing a disservice when you don't solve their problems.
Yeah.
And one of the simple questions you can ask at the end is there anything else you needed? Because that might just trigger something. And I remember I needed a wet brush for my daughter's tangly hair. And so I was waiting to see if she was going to offer it to me, and she did the whole service. And then that was it. Right.
Yeah.
So she sold me my product that I needed, but she didn't ask me anything about what else I might need at home or anything. So I didn't buy it, but I commented after, like, if you would have simply asked me if there was anything else, I would have bought a wet brush. And that's what's happening with our clients, is like, you haven't triggered that thought for them of what they already were thinking they needed. So it's really, I would try to shift your thinking and think of it as your responsibility. They're coming in there with a problem, and it's your responsibility to offer them a solution. And it's not personal if they say no. It's just, they're saying no to themselves of solving that problem at this time. So they may want to solve it the next time.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think of it more as like again, a technical mindset. I am here to solve a problem. I'm here to deal with physical properties, which are hair, skin, nails, you name it. The emotional part can just be the conversation we have about whatever it is you're talking about, and leave it to that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So let's talk about those 5 real quick again. So once again, I'll leave it to you.
Number 1, check your mindset about money. How do you feel about actually making money? And then when you find that you actually want to, then set the target, and then find out, like, what does that target mean to you? So what is that target going to get you? Is that going to get you your dream home? Is that going to allow you to leave the salon for 2 months, a year, and travel? What's that number actually mean to you? Number 3, set the target with each team member. So do the same process that you're doing for yourself. Now do it with your team members to support them in achieving their part of that big picture. Number 4, use a powerful consultation. So something where you're asking really powerful questions and you're identifying all of their problems. And number 5, offer them solutions to all their problems with no emotions attached, and let them choose. Just be quiet.
Yep.
Just let them answer.
It's true.
Stop talking.
I know. Stop talking now. Just stop talking.
Exactly.
Well, you have 2 ears, 1 mouth. Just, go with that, right?
Exactly.
Use them both.
Talk a little less.
Exactly. Caylee, this is so great. This brings an end to our 10-part series of Tuneup Tuesdays. So it's been a wonderful opportunity for people to understand how to do better in business and, of course, in life. Tell the people how they can get a hold of you and where they can go from here.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Greg. This has been such a great opportunity, and I love that I can share this with everyone. And if you've loved what you've heard and you want more, and you're like, how do I set the targets, and how do I break that down, and how do I get those solutions, and what do I say? Like, what are the exact words that I need to say? Then join us in our next group of the Salon Profit Project, because we're going to take you through all of the stuff that we've talked about through these 10 series in a much deeper level, but we're going to walk you through it, and it's really easy. So sign up now to get your spot, and we've got an awesome offer with just for the Beauty Council members. So we will post that link right into, the feed of this video. And then you can always find me on Instagram, Caylee Auger, at Caylee Auger, Facebook. So you could reach out to me on Messenger, Caylee at CayleeAuger.com. We can put that in there too. And yeah, pretty easy to get a hold of. So if you want more, you want to learn more, you need more help with this kind of stuff, then just reach out to me.
Awesome. And of course, as a partner of our organization, our association, we always provide a link to you as well. So thank you so much, Caylee. And I'm looking forward to our next show, program, series, whatever it is. Thanks again.
Wait. Yeah, thanks. Bye. Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Bye, everyone.